Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the top 10 pieces of equipment in Borderlands 4 for 2025. Doing a bit of a year-end wrap-up before we get some new content that's going to change the meta of Borderlands 4. So in this video I'll be breaking down all the best pieces of gear. Not going to do any honorable mentions as I covered honorable mentions in a previous video and people said they don't want to see that. So if you want to see some honorable mentions, check out that video. I'm just going to dive right into our number 10 here with the Dancer class mod, which recently got a buff and fixed how one of the skill rolls will work. This now gives us the ability to roll extra points into Soldado and have them actually count. And this is crazy because when you get a kill, it's going to increase all overdrive bonuses. This means that you can get some pretty crazy numbers. I only have a 200% bonus to gun damage, but you can get upwards of like 600% off of this. And then further increases the damage dealt, your movement speed, anything that you scroll through and you see that overdrive skill whenever you see that is going to get a massive boost every time, whenever we get a kill. So that's going to increase splash damage, our gun damage, and we can balance it out by increasing our handling and increasing our fire rate quite a bit. So we're going to be doing a ton of damage with this setup and doing honestly a lot of everything. You can move around quicker with this. You can regenerate your ammo, which means we can use some different weapons like the Golden God. But the big ones are really the Temerario here, Soldado, and then all the other overdrive skill bonuses. This class mod also can come with roll points into sustainable energy here, which will give you health regeneration. So it kind of is the jack of all trades, although the best roll would be to get one into Soldado and the rest into Temerario because the gun damage increases from this are insane. So yeah, we only have one other class mod on this list, but I think that this is honestly one of the best. Harlow doesn't need a class mod to be very strong. Rafa gets this and goes on to a whole other level. This actually brings him closer in power to what I think to be the strongest with green skill tree Harlow with her true crits. And yeah, you can see it starting to scale up even further there. We got 386%, but yeah, it can go over 600. No, honestly, I could just name off a lot of purple rocket launchers that are really good, like the Rocket Socket. Honey Bunches is a fantastic one. I'm also a fan of the Litter Splitter and even the Ood Cub. Atlan Gun is another good heavy ordnance, but I think that the best choice here for our 9th best item is the Disc Jockey. Now, we can get this in a few different flavors. I'm just going to show off the regular one here. What is great about this is whenever they bounce around, they get additional damage and they hunt down enemies. And the crazy thing about heavy ordnance is they actually take gun damage increases, and if you choose a specialization, you can oh, that didn't work out too well. So Amon can set up a wall here, which is pretty crazy because it boosts the damage of all of his explosives there. You can see in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, this is enough to shred through bosses pretty quickly, and you get overshield from this so your health bar doesn't go down, and we get infinite ordinances using Amon. This is crazy because this is like the stray sniper rifle where you don't have to aim, it's just gonna hunt people down and do pretty crazy amounts of damage. Now, enhancements in Borderlands 4 are extremely good. This is honestly one of the best categories for items. Class mods really defining this, but this would probably be the second best. Obviously, shields are important too, but yeah, the next one for number 8 on our list will be the Gatherer. The reason this is so good is dataless licensed parts are very powerful. There's a lot of complaints that people are upset that dataless is so good, most notably the mod. This is crazy because you can get an increased fire rate by 1% for bullet fired. This shoots 5 bullets at a time. This will scale up really quickly and gives you a plus 50% fire rate. Why this is so important is that there's 3 characters in the game that can use this to get infinite amounts of damage. Harlow, Vex, and Rafa. With his Bullet Buddy Deluxe, Harlow's green skill tree, and Vex's witchy trigger finger, which is pretty crazy when you consider the fact that using this is going to give us an increased fire rate, meaning we can output damage way faster with this. And this will also give us additional damage on spare ammo for the currently loaded gun. The main thing though is that fire rate, which on guns like the bot is just so valuable. So this isn't really the best build to showcase this, but yeah, you can get this thing shooting really fast. And if you're using the Eldritch Blast here, this can allow you to sustain your ammo until it does that reload there, and you can see it chunks away the health bar. This has been a very useful one when fighting Bloom Reaper. It's just so crazy being able to shoot this thing faster and faster and faster, and yeah, the damage you can put out with this weapon is high. I know a lot of people don't like the bot anymore just because it's so overpowered, but unfortunately, with Bloom Reaper having a timer, you gotta do what you gotta do to clear it in the platinum time. And in 7th place, we have an item that unfortunately got a nerf on the most latest patch. However, it's still a mighty shield, the Super Soldier. So basically with this, you get an increased movement speed and fire rate when your shield is full. 25% increase in fire rate, especially with many classes having infinite ammo, almost transfers to a 25% boost to damage overall. And then again, with other enhancements giving you plus 50%, you can get firing really quickly. This also regenerates 1 ammo per second, which is great when using things like the Golden God, which lets you shoot while you're over your bullet amount. But the only problem is this used to work on heavy ordinances and it no longer does. And that was really strong because being able to regenerate your heavy ordnance is pretty crazy. Nonetheless, this is still a very powerful shield because it has a large amount, it can have really good rolls, and on top of all that, it's just going to boost your movement speed, which is a luxury, but the fire rate increase directly translates to an increase in your overall DPS. This is just a simple set and forget shield that's just going to feel good for most builds. And in 6th place, we're back to enhancements, and this one's absolutely absurd. This more so became really strong in recent months because using this, whenever you have a Cov licensed magazine, you get a 100% chance to deal critical hits when overheating. And with guns like the Golden God, you can do some pretty absurd stuff because it can continue firing. This is great on Rafa, Vex, and Harlow. I'll show you what it looks like when we're going against Bloom Reaper the Invincible here. And yeah, you can see the infinite amount of crits are bouncing around. And also, if you have the high caliber ability, what's crazy about that is you can have those pierce the crystals, and both crystals will actually have multiple ricochets go around to multiple enemies. The infinite amount of critical hits is great. This is, I guess, the Harlow build, which doesn't fully require it, but it also works on Rafa, and you can see there he's shooting it even faster because, as mentioned, he's got those pretty crazy buffs from that class mod. But yeah, this is absurd, especially if you're trying to clear Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 version of Bloom Reaper to get that new firmware. And this is really just the best way to do it because the Golden God, you can see there, infinite crits, it's getting infinite ammo. You can see the ammo regenerating there. And then going into the bod in the second half, yeah, this is a very powerful weapon and item because the Quicksilver, 100% critical hits on any character is nuts. And in 5th place, you guys knew it was going to be on the list. It's still good despite its nerfs because critical hits just open up so many things to work properly. So you can get like infinite ammo with some characters. Now, it only has a 30% chance for a critical hit. This isn't super amazing in a lot of situations. But you have 3 of them. You can throw 3 of them for 90% critical hit chance. That's good enough, in all honesty, because again, you saw there, if you can get crits, it will chain around. And this is even further more powerful with our next item. But yeah, the critical hit knife, it's a good item. It's one of the most annoying to grind. So even if you get like a Slippy or a Waterfall, really any other ordnance, this isn't super necessary. It just makes a lot of the builds easier in the game. I do miss when it was 100% critical hit chance, but I understand why they had to nerf that. It was pretty crazy to begin with. And we're back to enhancements. Again, no kidding, they're so good. The next one we got is the Blind Box. This has the bounce pass ability, which is absurd because ricochets are such a boost to DPS. Guns with Jacob's License parts increase the number of possible ricochets by 1. This is good against Bloom Reaper because those crystals are all in a static place, and the more ricochets you can get, the more damage you can output. This also gives you the ability to get the 40% chance to ricochet non-critical hits as well. So yeah, Blind Box is absurd. There's also the Scatter Shot, which gives you the increased critical hit damage and 40% chance to ricochet non-crits. There's multiple types of the Scatter Shot, but the Blind Box, and even the Lady Killer is another name for it, but the Blind Box is one that's always going to have the bounce pass, and that's what we want because getting extra ricochets, especially again, if you can get crits easily, is so nuts, especially when we're talking about weapons like Dark Beast, which will automatically pierce and explode. This is mostly good when you're going against bosses that have like a bunch of stuff in the nearby area, but like Bloom Reaper, because those ricochets can bounce around all the crystals. It's great for mobbing, but it's even good against single boss themselves. You can get a big boost to the DPS from that, but this enhances more so for things like Bloom Reaper and just general mobbing, because getting that extra ricochet is a massive deal. Now our 3rd place item actually exists on this list because of Now with Caffeine. Reduce action skill duration whenever rep kit is activated, 25% reduction. This is crazy because if you got this one here, the triple bypass, which has 3 uses, that's 75% of your action skill back. You're likely going to have it back at that point. This gives you, again, 3 charges, but it has a 30% chance to replenish a charge on kill. There's other things you can get in like Vex's green skill tree, as Vex is the most played character. The Guns and Needles can restore your rep kit. So yeah, you can continually keep spamming your action skill because of this. This is almost an essential. This is good on a lot of different builds though. Like I have the Leech one here on a Vex, which has Lifesteal, which will apply to her shields. 30% Lifesteal is absurd. There's also ones that'll give you Enrage, doing all damage dealt plus 30%, but you take more damage. There's ones that'll reduce all damage by 50%. Amp, which gives your next shot 200% boost to the damage. I like that, but it's not great on a whole lot of other setups. I just really like the Leech one for this setup here. And there's one for splash damage if you're doing like an Ordnance aim on. Yeah, triple bypass is by and far one of the best rep kits. 3 charges to be able to use your action skill more is really good. And our 2nd place ability here is really good because we're getting extra shock damage. You see those blue numbers that are popping up there? That's because we are using a specific shield that's going to boost our DPS quite a bit. And this is crazy because the boost to the DPS is actually quite large as it's bonus damage, meaning that we're going to get any of our other gun damage increases added on top of it. And that is with the watts for dinner. Now, this is the best roll. This is the best item that I've gotten. Amp. This amp, there's 3 versions of it. This one has 35% of your shields for 150% gun damage. That's the one you want. There's ones that'll do 50% gun damage or 100%. They're okay, but this is the way to go. There's also ones that can come with a siphon, which will allow you to get your overshield. That's great too, because whenever you have an overshield, you get bonus 25% shock damage. And that's really good because that shock damage is going to tear through shields. There is another version I would have mentioned in the honorable mentions if I did them. Protein Cell, which is 40% bonus shock damage. Both of these are very powerful because they are going to give you shield reduction ability, but the damage you can get from the Watch for Dinners is bar none the best. There's other ones that I like the Fireworks for mobbing, Heavyweight if you're doing a melee build, Timekeeper's New Shield if you're doing a lifesteal build on anyone else other than Vex, but it's hard to deny Watch for Dinner is one of the best, is the best shield in the game. The damage from this is crazy, and if you can get the amp roll, it's best, but Siphon works well too. And also note that it does have a bit of a smaller capacity, but it more than makes up for it with the damage you put out. And what's funny is our last item actually kind of benefits from all the items that we talked about thus far, because Watch for Dinner getting that bonus shock damage, we can actually do that a little bit easier if we use a specific weapon here. If you use a specific setup here that's going to give us our overshield. As you can see, my head's blocking it, but I'm not running out of overshield and we're just shredding through everything. That is because of the Teen Witch class mod. I think this is by far the best item in the game. I don't think I've played all the Borderlands with hundreds of thousands of hours in them. We've never gotten anything this crazy before, in my honest opinion. This gives you so much lifesteal, it makes Zane look like nothing. It's pretty absurd. So with this, you get a flat out 10% lifesteal on all damage dealt. So even if you didn't take the bleaching attunement, you're going to get that lifesteal. On top of this, whenever we get our lifesteal, it's going on our shields and our overshields. And this also has rolls into some of the best skills in the game for sustainability with things like Grave Thirst, which is good if you roll into the green skill tree because this gives us 4.5% lifesteal per stack, 3 stacks, so you can get that going pretty good. Even crazy when we have Grave Power giving us 6 stacks, so yeah, that's a further 27% lifesteal that we can get there. Lifesteal is really good too because this one gives us 10% lifesteal doubled to 20 whenever we have our action skill active. This gives us more skill damage, which applies to everything here. Blood is Power takes our lifesteal and takes 300% of that and does bonus kinetic damage for an insane boost for overall DPS. So Spec here on lifesteal is really good on Vex because not only is she unkillable with this going to overshield, which then procs your Watch for Dinner for bonus shock damage, which, yeah, everything comes together. But yeah, you're not going down with this. This is honestly the best class mod in the game, best equipment in the game, and possibly one of the best equipment that we've ever gotten in a Borderlands game before. Let me know in the comments though what your favorite Borderlands item is in the equipment from Borderlands 4 or even previous games. I'm curious if there's anything that can rival what the Teen Witch is capable of. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and we'll catch you all in the next video.